Hi guys, welcome back. If you're here, if something pulled you towards this video today, I want you to just take a deep breath before we begin. Because this one has a weight to it. Not in a frightening way, but in a this is real kind of way. I pulled the main spread first using my traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck. And then I pulled a clarifier for each position because the energy felt layered. Like there was just something more to be said, and I'm really, really glad I did. Because what came through with the Lightseers tarot in the clarifiers really deepened everything. So the main cards, and we just pull them into frame. Let me just cover it. Our main cards were Strength reversed, 8 of Swords reversed, 6 of Swords reversed, and at the bottom of the deck, the Tower upright. Then the 8 of Wands came to clarify the strength. The Queen of Wands came to clarify the 8 of Swords reversed. And 6 of Pentacles clarifying the 6 of Swords reversed. So 6, 6. We have the 9 of Cups as well that came to clarify our Tower, which is just, I love that combo. And then we'll get to the bottom of the Lightseers tarot deck when we get there. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But if you feel something land in your chest as we move through this, pay attention to that. So Strength reversed. In this card, upright, you can see the woman. She's holding this lion's jaw open with almost like this impossible gentleness. There's no force, no fight, just this quiet, certain type of power that the animal seems to simply like yield to. And reversed, this elegance kind of slips away. And if this is your card right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what it feels like when the strength that usually moves through you, that starts to feel uncertain of itself, when you've been holding something, a situation, a relationship, your own emotions, for so long that your hands start to shake. And I just want to say something clearly. Excuse me, I just needed a sip of tea. I just want to say something clearly. This is not weakness. This is the cost of having held something for far too long. This is the trembling that comes after like gripping, not instead of the strength it takes to have that grip. And the 8 of Wands reversed as the clarifier for this, and this is kind of upright. This is pure momentum. It's like arrows flying, everything moving fast and landing exactly where it's meant to land. Reverse, that energy is still there, so there's still this fast moving energy, but it has nowhere to go. It's circling, it's scattering, it's almost turned inwards in a way that can feel chaotic or overwhelming. Like the mind won't stop, but nothing is being completed. I felt that. And if you've been feeling like you have a lot of energy, but also like you're getting nothing done, like things are spinning without traction, this is that. You're not broken, you're not lazy, you are full of arrows, but they haven't found their arc yet. So the exhaustion of the strength the exhaustion of the strength reversed isn't about like running empty. It's about running in place. It's like, it's its own particular kind of tired. Like you're running and running and running, like, and just getting nowhere. So the question I feel you have to ask yourself very quietly is, what are you still gripping to that no longer needs to be held on to? And what might finally move if you just let go? Letting go and movement, what will turn these two cards around? So just sit with that. Then moving on, the Eight of Swords reverse comes out next. And to be honest, there's something almost tender about this card in this position. You know, the image, the bondage, bound and blindfolded, standing in this ring of swords. It looks like a trap. It's like imprisonment almost. But here's what the card has always known and what you are beginning to see. The swords were never close enough to cut you. The binding was never as tight as they felt. The blindfolds, that's the real thing. The blindfold is the belief that you have no way out. Reverse, excuse me, throat blocks. Maybe there's something that needs to be said. So the blindfold is the belief that you had no way out. And reversed, the blindfold is loosening. Something you've been telling yourself, some story about why you can't leave, why you have to stay, why you're not allowed to want something different. That story is starting to come apart at the seams. And then the clarifier for that is your Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups doesn't think her way to truth. She feels. And you can see how, you know, she's in all the feels and she's there with her full cup. She holds her ornate cup with the one with the closed lid, the one that holds what can't be seen, and she trusts what moves through her. She is emotional intelligence at its most refined. Intuition as a form of mastery. What this card is telling you is that the way out of this mental prison, I'm feeling that, the way out of this mental prison, the way the blindfolds come off is not going to come from logic. You're not going to reason your way free. You're not going to make a pros and cons list and suddenly feel released. The clarity is coming through the feeling, through the body, knowing before your mind can even catch up, through dreams, through tears that arrive without warning, through something in the gut that keeps pulling in a direction you haven't fully named yet. Trust that. Don't make it right or wrong. Just flow with it. Feel it. Feeling is the way to freedom. And like maybe you found yourself in moments recently, realizations that arrive not as a thought but as like a kind of silent knowing. The Queen of Cups is saying that is real, that was true. Don't talk yourself out of what you felt. You're not crazy, you're not making it up. The door is real and you're going to feel your way through it. Feeling is the way to freedom. And then the third card, Six of Swords, reversed as well. And this is where I want you to be gentle with yourself. The Six of Swords upright is a crossing, a ferryman, calm waters ahead, shrouded figures finally moving away from like the turbulent waters towards something quieter. It's the card of I'm leaving, I'm going, I'm getting out of here. Reverse, the boat hasn't left yet. And I know this can feel like failure. Like I see the door, I know where I need to go, but I'm still standing here. But the clarifier came as the Six of Pentacles, and it reframes everything. I love that we pulled these clarifiers. 2 sixes in the same position, that's not an accident. The Six of Pentacles is all about exchange, giving, receiving, balance and imbalance, who holds the resources and who depends on them, power exchange. There's like a merchant in this card, and giving to those who kneel before him in the traditional one. It's a card that asks very directly, is what you're giving and what you're receiving actually equal? The reason the boat may have not left yet may not be fear. It may be something like more concrete, a dynamic where the exchange is genuinely uneven, like a situation where you're still giving more than you're getting back, or a dependency, a financial, emotional, practical thing that makes this crossing complicated in ways that have nothing to do with your willingness or your readiness. And so this isn't a failure of will. This is like a real world anchor. And there's no shame in acknowledging that some transitions require more than an open heart. They require resources, timing, and conditions that actually shift. So sometimes you feeling stuck is not because because you're not ready. It's because it requires a specific current, and waiting for those conditions might be just divine timing. The departure is real and it's coming, but something material needs to move first, and that's okay to admit. You don't need to be further along than you are, and you don't have to pretend this anchor isn't real. So something in the material world is anchoring this Six of Swords from moving forward into calmer waters. Maybe the current needs to change. Who knows? But just trust that you're in the harbor ready to depart, but waiting for real world things to change. And then beneath it all, the Tower. And not as a warning on top of the spread. So not as a warning on top of the spread, more kind of foundation of the entire reading. Like something has already cracked open, the lightning has struck, or it's so close to now that the difference is almost meaningless. The Tower doesn't ask your permission, it doesn't wait for you to be ready. But here is what I really want you to remember about the Tower, something we don't always say. And you can see the figures are falling from the broken crown, and they are falling towards the earth, towards something that is solid, something that is real, stripped of everything that was false, everything that was built on illusion. So the Tower doesn't destroy what is true. It clears what was never meant to stand, leaving you with only what is true and grounded. And the clarifier that we pulled for that, I had to actually just sit with this for a moment. The Nine of Cups, the Wish card, the card of deep personal satisfaction. The figure sitting in the center, the golden cups in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot, and here kind of heart shining, treasure trove, expressing content and exhilaration. This isn't about flashy abundance abundance of like the other cards. This is a private, bone deep feeling of I have what I wanted, I am okay, this is enough. The tower in this reading, the cracking open, the thing that's already in motion, is breaking open into fulfillment. Not just survival, not just relief, something that genuinely feels good to you in your own life, on your own terms. The Nine of Cups is an intimate card. It's not about what looks good from the outside. It's about quietly sitting in your own life and feeling, maybe for the first time in a while or ever, that it is yours, that you made something you actually wanted. This tower is not the end. I get a little bit teary. This tower is not the end. It is the clearing that makes room for this wish. So it's a blessing. And it really, this clarifier really showed that. I'm so glad we pulled them. And then what I pulled, I then turned over to see the bottom of the deck of the clarifiers, which I don't take a card like this lightly. A bottom of the deck card is a clarifier pull after a bottom of the deck tower in the main spread. This is the spine of the whole reading. This is what everything else is built around. The Ace of Swords, upright, is a breakthrough moment. Sword rising, clean and clear from the crown, truth spoken, decisions made, fog cutting through. It is the card of finally saying the thing. Reversed, that sword hasn't yet risen. And I'm talking about that traditional Rider-Waite deck where you have the sword in hand breaking through the fog, the clouds. So reverse, that sword hasn't risen yet. The truth is there. It exists. It's fully formed, but it hasn't come out yet. There's a word, a realization, a decision sitting somewhere in your throat, all my throat clearings, or maybe in your chest. Maybe you know it and maybe you haven't said it to the right person yet. Maybe you haven't fully said it to yourself yet. And what I think the cards are telling you, the whole spread read together, the Six of Swords is waiting. The boat is anchored, and part of what it's waiting for, maybe the biggest part, is this Ace of Swords rising. The named truth, the spoken thing, the decision that moves from the known to the declared. When that sword rises, the current comes, and when that sword, and the current comes, and that's when the crossing begins to calmer waters. So the question and maybe this decision is something got to do with real world anchors. You're giving, you're receiving, any type of financial anchor in the real world, jobs, being dependent on other people. It'll mean something different for each one of you, but we all have these anchors in our real world that, are shifting and changing all the time. So the question I want to leave you with, the one that feels like it's woven through every card in this reading, is what do you already know that you haven't said out loud yet? Not to anyone else, just to yourself firstly. Say it, even a whisper, even alone. That's where the movement begins. Brutal, quiet honesty with self. That's where it all has to begin. And maybe that's all it requires. So the full picture of this collective, for this collective, Strength worn down by energy that has nowhere to land. Freedom approaching through feeling and not thinking. A real world anchor holding the transition in place. And beneath it all, a truth not yet spoken that is the key to the whole crossing. This isn't a gentle reading, but it's an honest one. And I think it's an encouraging one, even where it's hard, because the Nine of Cups doesn't lie. What's on the other side of this is real and beautiful. It brings me to tears. I almost can't speak. And if you've been sitting with this question of whether to hold on or let go, I think the cards are saying in their way, the holding is already ending. The cards already know, and the ground will hold you. There is ground beneath this falling tower. And there is something to catch you. Something beautiful. Like this reading, if it landed, leave a comment. I read everyone, and I'd love to know what came through to you, what resonated. And if you're new here, the channel is called, at the moment, Learning to Stay, but I'm changing names daily. But I am Jo, and this is a place where I am learning to stay. And I hope it can bring a sense of staying with ourselves, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, everyone. May you be blessed. May you have ease. May you be joyful. Thank you.